received my Trim Healthy Plan book in mail today, so I'm really excited about that. And I also decided that today was going to be the day that I start to incorporate some of the meals from Trim Healthy Mama. So I have the Trim Healthy Table book. I picked the double fried rice, chicken fried rice recipe from, I think it's page 53 of this book. But I am going to head into the kitchen. You guys are going to come with me and we're going to cook and then we're going to taste it and see how it is. And I think one of the key benefits of this fried rice recipe is that it is brown rice. So it's low sugar, low carb. Brown rice is just good for you overall, much better than white rice. So I'm staying away from the white rice, the white rice and pastas and white potatoes. Okay, so really working on my insulin. Then I'm gonna show you like how I make substitutions because I didn't have everything that the recipe called for. So I'll show you that in the next couple of clips of this video once I start cooking. So come on into my kitchen and let's cook. So ingredients needed in this meal is brown rice, and I have mine in a Ziploc because I have like a 50-pound bag of rice. So I store it in a Ziploc. I need butter for this meal and water. Of course, I'm also going to need some other things like salt and pepper, but I don't show you that here. I'm going to scoop up about 2 cups of brown rice. I'm also going to add about 3 cups of water to that as well. And then I'm going to put in about 1 tablespoon or maybe a little bit less of butter. We just want to make sure that it's nice and buttery. That makes a big difference in the taste. So the ingredients that I'm using are mixed vegetables. I'm also going to be using about 3 eggs for this particular recipe. I'm using broccoli florets, so just fresh broccoli. I'm also using cauliflower, and then I am going to be using garlic, so just a couple of cloves of garlic, onion. The recipe called for green onions, but that's what I had on hand. Soy sauce. So I get a lot of these 365 brand. And then I have black pepper. Use your cracked pepper if you want to. Sea salt or mineral salt. And nutritional yeast, which really brings out the flavor. And I used olive oil extra light, but if you have sesame oil, that's great. And then it called for chicken breast, and I only had a little bit of leftover chicken from the night before. So now I'm just cracking the eggs, and we're going to crack all 3. And we're just going to give them a little whisk, beat the eggs before we pour them into the pan. So we are pouring in some olive oil just to grease up the skillet a little bit and pouring in the scrambled egg. We're going to pepper it up with some cracked black pepper as well as sea salt to your liking, however much you feel is necessary. But I like my food to be well seasoned, so I'm going to be seasoning everything in this recipe. And you can probably hear my daughter playing the piano in the background, which is really a nice backdrop to my cooking. I really like when she plays. But we're just adding nutritional yeast, which I found is extremely healthy and nutritional, but also brings a nice flavor to any meal. All right, so it's time to fix up my veggies. Now, in a typical THM meal, you don't want to have a lot of carbs. I did realize that the corn was quite a bit of carbs and maybe a little bit more carrots than typical. But this is the veggies that I had on hand, and so this is what I'm going to use. And also our next thing is to cut up some additional veggies. I'm just kind of straightening out my cords there. But we're going to cut some onions. I like to mince mine sort of smallish so that it just cooks a little bit more fine. But you don't have to because you're just cooking it all up. So it's all going the same place, right? But I just like to cut mine sort of medium to small. Then I'm going to use about, I think what I used is about 2 cloves of garlic, but use as many as you wish. Garlic is so good for you. Over the years, I've been using garlic every single day in my eggs. When I do eat eggs or I use it in my vegetables, I cook garlic every day. I eat garlic daily. So it's just really, really healthy for you and does so much good for your body. Next, it's time to chop up that cauliflower and broccoli. So I'm just going to kind of speed through this part of the process for you guys. You know what chopping looks like. So let's go on to the next part. After we chop these veggies, we are then going to break up that egg because we're going to actually, I could have just scrambled it, but I flipped it kind of like a fried egg. So I'm just sort of breaking it apart. So what I'm going to do is end up removing this from the pan so I can add some of my other items. So you can see I'm breaking it up now because I kind of waited a little bit too long since I didn't scramble it. So after I break this up, now I'm going to transfer all of this into a bowl. But first, I'm going to sort of oil it a little bit just so that it's not too dry or sticks to the pan. Right, so I like to keep a little olive oil on hand just for that purpose, and it just makes it taste better too when you add more oil. Now, as you can see, I am simply transferring all of my egg into a bowl. We're kind of cleaning out that pan so that I can add some other ingredients. All right, so we're going to add some olive oil to the bottom of that skillet. Again, I use olive oil liberally in this recipe or any recipe that I make. And we're just going to scoop all of that broccoli, cauliflower, onions, and garlic into the skillet. And we're going to let that kind of simmer up on medium. And I'm adding even more oil, you guys, because you can't go wrong with oil. Olive oil is so good. We're going to dump in all of those veggies from earlier, the peas, the carrots, and it does have some corn in it, like I said, but we're going to go ahead and use that. I'm breaking it up. Again, the only thing I would do differently to have a really more on point THM meal is to take away that corn. That's a little bit heavy on the carbs. All right, black pepper and salt, more seasoning. I told you guys that I do not hold back on my seasonings. Okay, so now we're just going to break that up a little bit more because we want this to cook in really well. So we want the seasonings, the garlic and the onion flavor to really blend in well and just cook nicely with the broccoli, the cauliflower, the peas, the carrots. So it's going to have a beautiful flavor. I'm adding that chicken in from earlier. So this is leftover chicken, you guys. I did not take time to make a brand new batch of chicken when I already had a couple of strips left over from the night before. And as you can see, they are also already seasoned. So I seasoned everything. We're cutting up this chicken into little slices here. I'm dicing it up, but I'm kind of taking my time because my knife is just a tad bit dull. All right, so I am scooting all my veggies over on one side of the pan. Not quite sure why I did it this way, except I was following the THM recipe too religiously on this part because it really didn't matter at the end of the day. But I split the pan in half and I'm adding the chicken on one half. I think if I were just cooking the chicken for the first time, maybe that would make more sense. But it's already been cooked, so I'm just adding that in. I guess I really could have just thrown it in together. I added my olive oil again, as you can see, and now I'm adding my egg back into the pan. So really, this is one big happy meal. We're just gonna like really blend it all together, toss it all together, make it one big happy family with the egg, the veggies, and the chicken. So just blending it all together, and you guys will probably notice that I add lots of oil. I keep adding little bits of oil as I stir and things start to fry down in the pan. I add more oil just so it won't stick, but also, oil makes really good flavor, but it might be a little bit heavy-handed for the THM approach. So may want to see if that's something you want to do or not. But I'm adding in my brown rice. It's been cooked and I'm just adding that in now. So I'm adding in my soy sauce, and the recipe asks for, I believe, half a cup. So we're going to shake in half a cup of soy sauce. into this recipe. So here we go. This is a meal to serve 8 people, and I only have 3 people at home. So we're going to have lots of leftovers. Okay, so the moment of truth is here. I have my chicken fried rice. It's very buttery, oily. I'm going to see if I like it. I usually have fried rice with white rice, so this is a little bit different, and I think it's going to be better. It just looks like it's going to have more, it's heartier. It looks like it has a nuttier flavor because probably when I added the nutritional yeast, it's going to bring a different flavor to it. It was good because the seasoning really helps a lot. It feels like a wholesome, filling meal. This is an e-meal. It's energizing. So yeah, because it's got protein, it's got the egg, and it's got the chicken. And there's little bits of egg and chicken, not a lot. So it's not like the main staple of this meal. The main staple would be the rice. So when I was talking in my last video about not giving up meat, this is what I mean. Like, I don't want to have my entire meals be like a big hunk of meat with a little bit of salad or greens on the side and a huge white potato, which is maybe how I would have eaten some time ago. So I am slowly deprogramming myself and my family from that style of eating, which is, when you've lived in the South a long time, you kind of get that mindset of, loads of sauce. You got to have your barbecue, smother that chicken and the steaks and everything in your sauces. And so you get a lot of sugar and you're getting a lot of salt and you're getting too much meat and too much carbs because you get a big hunk of cornbread on the side, and that cornbread's got sugar, salt, butter, all the good stuff, but maybe not so good for our health long term, right? So I think I can really get into this. Like I said on my last video, I went 1 year sugar-free, carb-free, carb-free, not protein-free, but meat-free, and caffeine-free. And so if I could do something that extreme for a year, then I can do something this not so extreme and very, it's palatable and it's easy. It's something that my family can get into, and nice way of transitioning into a healthier lifestyle. So this is part of it. The other part of it is exercise and, conditioning the body. So I'm doing my 1.5 mile walks every day. It's so good. So I'm going to go eat the rest of this, but I just wanted to show you guys. Sorry, it's really good. I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like, what it tastes like. I know you can't taste it, but what it looks like. It's you can't tell just by looking at it. It doesn't do it justice, but it's very savory because of the egg and the meat and the salt and the cracked pepper. Then there's all the little vegetables like the peas and the beans and the carrots. So this is something my daughter would make. She's made what we call bibimbap, and it's this chicken fried rice. She's made these recipes before, but this is a little bit different because it's more savory, I think. So I think we're going to adopt this recipe. I like the nutritional yeast. I just like all of the extras that bring a little bit extra flavor to this meal than what we would probably have done without this recipe. So really grateful for that. I'm going to keep trying a couple more recipes in the book as I adapt to this mindset of energizing meals versus satisfying meals, S meals versus E meals. So my understanding of how this works, you don't want to mix an S meal with an E meal. So if you're eating a satisfying meal, which is, good fats, but higher fat, you don't want to have and also eat an energizing meal that's a little bit higher carb. So this would be, I guess, a higher carb energizing meal, even though it's good, healthy carbs. It's the brown rice, but carbs nonetheless. It's got some like broccoli, and it's got some beans and so forth. So a little bit more carbs in this meal. So you don't want to mix the two. So that's the one concept that I've learned this week so far as I'm learning about Trim Healthy Mama. So, from time to time, I'll come back and show you guys new recipes that I'm working on and how I like it, what my family thinks about it. So far, nobody has tried it because they've already had their lunch. So this is going to be for dinner. So we'll see what happens at dinner tonight. I think they'll like it. I really do. I think they're going to like it. So I have a whole skillet full of this, so they better eat. All right. And that's all for now. And thank you guys for watching. And until next time, bye.